And let's go to grammar, page 73. Grammar, page 73. Page 73. We're going to talk about something called conjunctions. And these are words that connect other words or phrases or clauses in a sentence. Did you find it, Malia? Okay, good. So we're on page 73. And we're talking about conjunctions. These are small words, little words that we use to connect parts of the sentence together. And that's what it says here. A conjunction connects words, phrases, or clauses. And then it says a coordinating conjunction connects the same type of words, phrases, or clauses. The item in the coordinating conjunction connects must be grammatically the same, like two or more nouns, two or more verbs, two or more prepositional phrases, and so forth. There might be two adjectives or more. So these are lists. It's kind of like a list of two or more of different parts of speech, and they're connected with what's called a coordinating conjunction. Like this example right here, it says, he ran to the window and opened it. He ran to the window and opened it. The word and right here is connecting the two things that he does. There's two things he does. He ran and opened. So they're two verbs. They're two actions. He ran and opened. Even though ran is not next to and, that's okay. It's still connecting those two because it's telling two things he did. Okay, it doesn't have to be right next to the word and. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not, like this example here. So it says the coordinating conjunction and does not connect window, which is a noun, and opened, which is a verb. So it does not connect those two words because those are different types of words. We have a noun and a verb. It does connect. It says, because a noun and a verb are not grammatically the same type of word. So it connects two verbs together. Okay. Use the acronym fanboys. Okay, so this is a made-up word, fanboys. I mean, it's a real word, but we're going to use it to help us remember what all the coordinating conjunction words are. Fanboys. So when you see coordinating conjunction, think of fanboys to learn the 7 coordinating conjunctions. And here they are. See how each one stands for a word. So F stands for, A for and, N for, or nor, sorry, nor, B, but, O, or, Y, yet, S, so. Each letter of fanboys stands for something. And that's going to help you remember what those words are. It's like a trick. It's called an acronym. And if you think of fanboys, you can think of these words: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Nor and or are kind of the same. We don't use nor very often. Sometimes we use it in a sentence, neither this nor that. Maybe you've heard that before. But it means the same thing. It means the same thing as or. It's just another way to say it. But it still is a coordinating conjunction. So go ahead and read. You can stay muted so it doesn't echo. But I want you to just read these words right here for fanboys, okay? Starting right here, ready, read. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So you should have read those with me. Let's do it one more time. You can stay muted. Ready, read. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Okay, each one of those words starts with one of the letters for fanboys. The way you're going to label it in this book is to write CC, which stands for coordinating conjunction, above each coordinating conjunction. You're just going to label it CC. Here's your example here. The guards looked around the room, but saw nothing unusual. But is the B in fanboys right here. So we're going to label it CC for coordinating conjunction. And by the way, it's connecting. The way you know is right after the word is saw. So that's a verb, right? So we got to look what other verb back here is it connected to. So what is the other thing he did? Does anybody see it? We see the verb saw. What's a verb back here, Abby?
Looked.
Excellent. So looked and saw. That's what but is connecting. He looked around the room, but saw nothing. Okay, look at the next example. The princess wanted the cloak, bag, and horn. So here's and, that's the A in fanboys. So we're going to label it CC for coordinating conjunction. And right after that, I see horn. That's a noun. What other nouns is and connecting here? Do you see other nouns that is connecting? Malia?
Cloak and bag.
Yes, excellent. That's right. Cloak, bag, and horn. So it's listing three things. These are all nouns. Cloak is like a jacket or a coat, right? And then bag, we know what that is, and horn. So those are three nouns that is connecting. Very good. So remember, whenever you see a coordinating conjunction, it's connecting the same type of word, whether it's verbs or nouns, or it could be adjectives, something like that. Here are a couple of comma rules about that. This comma is crossed out because you're not going to use a comma before a coordinating conjunction when it connects only two items in a series, unless they are main clauses, but you don't need to worry about that yet. But if it's only two things, here's the pattern, A and B. If you're connecting two things, A and B, you don't need a comma. Like look up here when Abby told us looked but saw. Well, it's only connecting two things, that two verbs, looked and saw. But look at this example here. It says use commas to separate three or more items in a series. So here's the pattern, A, comma, B, comma, and C. So here we've got cloak, comma, bag, comma, and horn, because there's three things we need commas for that. If there's only two, no comma for that. Okay. And then down here, strong verb. This is something that's on your checklist. And this is just talking about it in your grammar book. A strong verb dresses up writing because it creates a strong image or feeling. A strong verb is an action verb, never a linking verb or helping verb. Look for the strong verbs in this book and write them on the strong verb collection page in Appendix 2. That's in the very back of the book. There's a place where you can make a list. If you come across some great strong verbs or, action verbs, I think it's on page, let me find it really quick, page 191 at the very, very back of your grammar book. It's a blank page here. It says strong verb at the top. As you're reading books or reading through this book or any other books, even your history book or science or even math, if you see a good strong verb and you like it, you want to remember it, just make a note here for yourself, okay? And you can use it later in your own writing. It's optional. Okay, we're done with that page. Let's turn to the practice page. Does anybody feel like reading it today? Sydney.
The soldier knew that he needed to escape, but he forgot that he was wearing a magic cloak.
Good. Ooh, it's getting kind of suspenseful here. What's going on? So escape, we know that means to get away from danger, right? To escape, to leave somewhere, to find safety. Okay, so escape, we can check off that vocabulary. There are two articles. Go ahead and do those by yourself real quick. And then I'm going to have Malia tell us where the nouns are.
Soldier
Good. That's one.
and cloak.
And cloak. Good. Those are the two nouns. Very good. And then there's pronouns. There's three of them. Abby, where are those?
He,
Good.
and he.
He, and he. Yes. Very good. And this is talking about the soldier. How about the adjective, Sydney? Do you see where that's at?
Magic.
Good. That's right. Adjectives tell us what kind and how many, those types of words about a noun. And now we have a coordinating conjunction. Next to this, I want you to write the word fanboys in all capitals like that. Fanboys, just to help you remember. That's your clue. That's your trick. Think of the word fanboys. Do you see one of those words, Malia, in this sentence? Remember, it's for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. See one of those words in there?
But.
Yes, but. By the way, this is but with one T. You guys know the difference, right? Just making sure. CC on top of that. Very good. Put a check by that. And then we've got a clause to look for, but I think before we do that clause, let's look for the subject verb pairs. So how about Abby, where are all the verbs?
New.
Good,
Needed.
good,
Wearing.
good.
And forgot.
Yep, and there's one more that's a helping verb. It's helping wearing.
Was.
Yes, good. That's a helping verb. It's helping wearing. So they go together. Was wearing. Good. That's it. So now we got to find the subject, Sydney. So what I like to do is look at the verb like knew. Who knew? It's usually before the word. So look before knew, and who knew that he needed? You're muted, Sydney, so I don't know if you're talking yet, but I can't hear you yet.
That clause.
No, we're looking for a subject now. Okay. So you're going to look for what subject goes with the verb knew. Who knew? Go ahead, Sydney.
Soldier.
Good. Soldier knew. And then look at needed. What's the subject that goes with needed?
He.
Good. And then there's another one here, forgot. What's the subject for forgot?
He.
Good. Again, he. And then was wearing. Who was wearing?
He was wearing.
He again. Very good. So right before those verbs helps us to find those subjects. I skipped the that clause because sometimes it's easier to wait till the end for that one for me. But you can do it in order if that makes sense to you. So back to Malia, you're looking for two clauses that start with that. You see them in there?
That he needed to escape.
That he needed to escape. Very good. That's one.
And that he forgot he was wearing a magic cloak.
Yes, excellent. We're going to write the word that on top of those, on top of that. Very good. I want to talk to you just for a second about the word escape. You know, some students would say that's a verb, and it's true. When you have escape by itself, that is an action. It's what you're doing. You're leaving an area or leaving somewhere. to find a safe place, right? So escape could be a verb, but because it has that word to next to it, it changes it. By the way, the word to is wrong. Did you notice that, Abby? What should we do about that? How do we change this?
We cross it out and it's 2-0, not 2-0.
T-O, you mean?
Sorry.
Yeah, I know what you meant. You're right. So to escape changes it to what's called an infinitive. So we don't mark that as a verb. It's different when it has the word to next to it. So don't mark that one as a verb. Okay. We need a capital, and that's going to be the first word here, the. End mark is going to be a period. And we already fixed the homophone, which was to. Good job, you guys. So before you put this away, though, if you have a Post-it note near you, I want you to mark a page really quick with your Post-it note. So if you don't have one, you can do it later. But if you have one of these, go ahead and take one off your stack here. And we're going to mark a page. So you're going to put the sticky part down. And so this part is not sticky on top right here. See how I have it stuck like that? And then I want you to write on here coordinating conjunctions. It's a big word, so kind of write small. Coordinating conjunction. If you have to use to write it underneath it, that's okay if you don't have enough room. But I want you to write coordinating conjunctions. And then underneath that, I want you to put fanboys. I'm going to have you mark the page that tells you about those because when you're doing your homework later, you might forget what that is. What are those letters? And then you can go back to that page. So you're going to stick it on page 73 after you get done writing it. Did you get to write it down, Malia? Okay. Sydney, did you get to write it down yet or not yet? Do you have a Post-it? You do? Okay, I'll leave it here so you can copy it then. I'm going to just move it to the page it goes to. Hold on, Sydney. You guys are going to stick it right here on this page, which is 73, and stick it so it sticks up at the top there. And it's okay if it covers up some of the words on the page. That's okay. That way, later when you go to do your homework, you can go back to this page. And that'll help you remember what those words are. For, and, nor, but, or, yet. So eventually you'll have it memorized, and then that makes it even easier. Give me a thumbs up when you got that all set. I see that, Sydney. Good, good. Okay, awesome. Let's put away your grammar books then. And go ahead and get out your binders. You guys were working on why opossum has a bare tail. Abby?
I just finished my first paragraph.
You did. Okay, good. I haven't seen it yet. I graded some of, I think I saw Sydney's. I can't remember if I saw it. Did you turn yours in yet, Malia?
So, I kind of like, I haven't finished, last week's.
Okay.
Last week's, assignment, but I did do those 2 weeks before that. I haven't turned them in, no.
Okay, so maybe you can turn it in later today. That's okay. Whenever you're done with it. Okay, cool. That sounds good. So, would you like to read your paragraph, Abby? Yeah. Okay. Do you want to read yours too, Sydney? Yeah. Okay. So we'll hear Abby's and then Sydney's. And then Malia, next time when you get yours done, we'll hear yours. Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Abby, whenever you're ready.
Opossum was very proud of his fluffy white tail, but he was also greedy. When he noticed Raccoon, who had elegant rings on his tail, he looked up and exclaimed, "How did you get such a pretty tail?" he said admiringly.
Nice. Give her a clap in the camera, you guys. That was great. She just did the first paragraph, which was what the homework was. So that's a good start. I like it. Very good, Abby. I heard your ly and your who and a strong verb in there because we're doing strong verbs now. Which one did you underline for your strong verb?
Exclaimed.
Exclaimed. That's perfect. Very nice. Okay, Sydney. And you don't need a title yet because that doesn't come in until later. So you can wait on the title. But whenever you're ready, Sydney, let's hear your paragraph. Or do you need me to pull it up for you on the computer? Oh, okay. Let me get it really quick. I did put some comments on your Google Doc. So are you okay if I share that too? Okay. Just always want to make sure because it's good comments. Let me pull this up here. Okay. Sharing. Let me make it bigger. Okay, and then I can actually enlarge it a little bit here too. There we go. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Once there was a possum that had a white fluffy tail, which he was proud of. Then he spotted a raccoon sitting in a tree lazily. He observed the elegant rings on his tail. He asked how he got such a pretty tail.
Nice. Let's give her a clap in the camera, you guys. Good job, Sydney. I love it. I see your lazily is your ly, and you've got a which clause right here, and you put the word observed as your strong verb. It looks really, really good. I see that you already gave it a title. You might have to change that because remember that you wait until the very last sentence to make your title, but you could make sure to use one of those words in your last sentence and keep the title. So either way, but nice. Oh, this is going to be good. So now we're going to move on to the next two paragraphs so we can finish up this story. So go ahead and get out this stuff in your front pocket for the opossum story. And let's look at your keyword outline. This is your story sequence chart. And we started this last week. We already got the characters and setting. And now we're going to move into the conflict and the problem. This is what happens in the middle of the story. And like I said before, every good story has a problem because then it's more interesting to see how the character solves the problem. Sometimes it's a good ending, a happy ending, and sometimes it's not so happy. Like for Opossum, it wasn't really a happy ending for him. But everybody was okay. He just now has to deal with a naked tail the rest of his life and everybody else's life. So here's where we left off. Opossum was looking up into the tree and he's asking Raccoon, how did you get that pretty tail? This is when we need to start talking about Raccoon and how he responds to that question. And as soon as Opossum asks the question, how did you get the pretty tail? Raccoon is thinking of something before he says anything. I'm going to ask Malia, do you remember what he's thinking? Like, what is the raccoon thinking when Opossum first asked him, how did you get that pretty tail? And you could look back on the story if you need to.
I think
Remember what he was thinking? Like, um, right here in the second pair, I see your hand, Abby. Let's see if Malia can think of it, and then I'll ask you. Here's the part where he asked about your pretty tail. What is he thinking right here before he says something? What is he wanting to do? Right here.
oh, all of a sudden I can't see you guys anymore. I think I'm gonna click something.
You can't see it?
No, I think I'm gonna like I see like the Zoom, but it just says like Zoom. I can hear you
Oh,
guys.
Okay. And you know what? Your internet is your voice is kind of like crackling a little bit like a robot. So I wonder if it's your internet's probably not great today. So let me just try to reshare this and see if that helps anything. How about that? Did that help anything? Can you see it now or no? No. It sounds like maybe your internet's not great today. So I'm gonna ask Abby because she can help you. She has an idea, okay? Okay. What do you think, Abby?
He wanted to play a cruel trick on him.
Yes, he wanted to play a cruel trick. He's thinking about this. So next to Roman numeral 2, we're going to enter into now the problem or the conflict. So let's use R with a circle for raccoon so that we don't have to use a word here. And let's put either wanted or play cruel trick. Or we could put wanted play trick. What do you think, Abby? What 3 words should we use?
Wanted play trick.
Okay. Wanted play trick. And then when you go to write it, you can put in the word cruel. So Sydney, after that, he's thinking, he's planning this trick, right? And then what does he actually say to Opossum?
Um,
He says, like, how did he get his pretty tail? He told him how he did it.
yeah, he told him a lie
Yes. And what was the lie?
that he put his tail in like hot coals and stuff
Yeah. Do you remember what he wrapped his tail with?
with like bark, I think.
Bark. Yeah, which is part of a tree, right? It's like wood. So I'm going to use little quotation marks for this one next to one because this is what he's saying. And he said, this is how he got his tail. He said, I wrapped my tail in bark. Remember how he says here, here, and here, and here. He's showing like this is where I wrapped my tail, right in this area, here, 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 here. So this is what he's saying to Opossum. After he wraps it in the bark, or after he wrapped his own tail in the bark, what did he do next, Malia? Do you remember that? After he wrapped the tail.
He jumped like the opossum.
So no, it's when Raccoon is explaining how he got his tail to have stripes on it, that before Opossum does it, he's telling Opossum what to do.
He um he he demonstrated how he like put his tails in like the fire.
And yeah, he said he put it in the hot fire, right? So this is what he did. I'm gonna put more quotes here because he's still talking about it. Put in hot fire. That's what he did next. He says, so the first thing I did was wrap my tail with bark here, here, and here, and here. And then I put it in the hot fire. Malia?
But I'm sorry, can I exit out of the Zoom meeting for a second and then come back in?
Yeah, I'll let you back in. Maybe that'll help. Okay. And then Abby, I'll have you work on the next part. And then what did he say happened after he put his tail in the bark? I mean, after he wrapped it with bark and put it in the fire, what did he say happened to his tail? This is Raccoon still, not Opossum, but what did Raccoon say about his own tail?
The fur between the bark turned black, but the rest remained white.
Yes. And it was like rings, right? So maybe we could say, or let me ask you, what 3 words should we put here to explain that?
Fur, black, white.
Yeah. Or maybe instead of fur, we could say rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, rings, black, and then white. Malia, are you having trouble logging out? Oh, you already did it? Okay. Okay, cool. So the rings will turn black and the other part will remain white, is basically what he says, right? The rings turned dark or black. Good. Okay, so now this is the problem coming in because he's telling Opossum what to do. And then this is where we get to the climax part of the story. That's the part of the story where we're not sure what's going to happen to the character, right? Because now Opossum's going to do that. And we already know how it ends. Poor guy. But in the middle of it, we're not sure. Like, is he gonna be okay or is he gonna burn his tail? And we know the answer. But so what does he do, Sydney, after Raccoon explains all that to Opossum? What does Opossum actually do?
He does everything the raccoon said.
Good. Let's put that. I like that. So Opossum, we'll start with the O, does everything are, and instead of putting said, because now that's a banned word, Sydney, what's something else we could put instead of said here? Remember our banned words list? We made a little list. You can look at it.
Declared.
Say, oh, described? Is that what you said?
Declared.
Declared. Well, let's see. Oh, opossum does everything raccoon declared. Keep thinking. Go ahead, Sydney. What's another one?
Exclaimed.
Explained. What were you going to say, Abby?
It's not on the list, but ordered.
Okay, I like that too. So if you want to put ordered, you can put ordered here. Or Malia, if you think of something else, I'm going to put explained because that's what Sydney picked. I like that one too. So, oh, opossum does everything that raccoon explained. That's way better than said. That tells us a little bit more about what's going on here. Okay, and then we get into the tragic part of the story, right? So he's doing this. He put the bark on and he's all excited because there's a bonfire. So what is Malia, what is the opossum do now that he got it all ready? Got his tail ready, put the bark on, wrapped it all up and got it ready. What does he do next? That's for you, Malia.
Sorry.
That's okay.
He puts his tail in the fire.
In the fire, and it was a bonfire. Do you guys know what a bonfire is? Have you ever heard of that before? It's like a big fire. Abby, have you heard of it before?
I think it's like a controlled fire. Like it's not like a wildfire. It's controlled.
It is controlled. That's a good way to put it, but it's big, right? Usually a bonfire is bigger than a fireplace and it's outside. Um, Sometimes like a campfire, but kind of a big campfire. Okay. So he puts it, let's see. How are we going to put that here, Malia? Do you have a way to write it out on your keyword outline? Like what 3 words could we put to describe that? You can use the word bonfire as one of your words, but what are the other 2 words? How can we put that down?
Jumps. Not jumps. Like puts tail.
Put and tail? Yeah. I mean, put isn't exactly a keyword, but that's okay. It's a good word. We can use that here. So we could put bonfire. Put tail. And then Abby, what happens to his tail? Puts it in the bonfire. And then what happens to his poor little tail?
It burns all the fur off.
Yeah, what did it say? It looked like it burnt like a what? I think it's on the back. Go to the back of the story.
It burnt like a torch.
Like a torch. I think we should include that. It's so sad. But so how do you want to put that in your keywords here?
Tail, burn, torch.
Yeah, I like it. Tail burn torch. And then we know that he ran and well, let me ask Sydney, what did he do? His tail's on fire. What did he do next? How did he get the fire out? This is for Sydney.
He
It's on the back of that page there, at the back of the story. It's on fire. He's like, ah, it's on fire.
his tail was too badly burnt. It remained bare for the rest of his life, and all his children, and all of his children, and all his children's children had bad.
Yes, yes. And we need to include that. I'm thinking like right here where he panicked and he jumped. Where did he go? He panicked.
He jumped into the pond.
Yes, to put it out the flames. I think we should mention that here for number 3, and then we might need to put a number 4 to explain the children's part. But how would you talk about how he put the flame out? What 3 words would you want to put here, Sydney, to explain that part where he panicked and jumped into the pond and put out the flames?
Flames jumped and pond.
Flames jumped pond. What about panicked? Jump. We already know it's on fire because we just talked about it's burning like a torch. How about panicked jumped pond? Do you like that, Sydney? Those are all really good, like jumped and panicked. Those are really good, strong verbs. So you can underline one of those later when you write your paragraph. Panicked, jumped, pond. And then I like your idea of including the children's part. So let's add a 4. We're just going to add one more here just to finish this off. And he didn't have any hair. His hair was gone. His tail changed. So do you guys remember the symbol when you circle something and you draw a line through it? It means no or not. Like if I put hair and I circle it and put a line through it like that, that means no hair. That's a symbol. No hair. And then I like your idea, Sydney. Let's put children's and children. And then we'll remember, oh yeah, I remember that part. His children's children and his children's children's children. And then it keeps going on and on and on and on and on forever and ever and ever. Okay. You guys did great filling in this story sequence chart. So see how we did that? We're not looking at each sentence anymore. We're looking at parts of the story. So the first part, we introduced the characters here in the setting. We talked about the tree. And then in the middle of the story, this is where the conflict and the problem came in. The problem was Raccoon wanted to play a trick on Opossum, and he planned a mean trick. And then the problem kind of grows. There's another problem because now opossum has a burnt tail. So part of the problem is down here, but then it kind of gets into that resolution. Well, the resolution is how he solves his problem. Down here, his big problem is that his tail's on fire and he solves it by jumping into the pond, right? That's how he solved his problem. But it was not a happy ending because now his tail is, we know how he feels. Just look at this picture. That tells a lot. You can see his face. He's not very happy. He's thinking, why did I listen to Raccoon? He's holding his tail. Why did I listen to Raccoon? I don't think he'll do that again. Okay, so your homework this week is going to be to write your next 2 paragraphs about this opossum and why he has a bare tail. So before we go into your checklist, though, well, yeah, let's look at your checklist. Let's do that. Let's look at your checklist really quick because I want to remind you, this is how I grade your homework. Did you know that your homework is always worth 10 points? Aw, your puppy. What's your doggy's name, Abby? Oh, so cute.
That's Coulter. I have another smaller one.
Oh, wait, what's his name?
Coulter.
Coulter?
Yeah.
And he's a boy? Coulter. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. He loves you so much. Look at that.
That's a good doggy.
He's like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. It's so cute. Coulter. Hi, Coulter. Hi. He wants to give me a kiss, huh? That's cute. I love doggies. Oh my gosh, they're so cool. He's a cutie pie. Okay, back to this. So all your homework every week is worth 10 points. And the way to find out how many points you have is when you go into Google or your mom, your mom can help you find it if you need her to. When you click on view work, you have to go to classwork, the tab at the top that says classwork. Then you choose the homework assignment and then view work, and it'll tell you how many points you got. So if you got 9 points instead of 10 points, that means you forgot something, or maybe you accidentally used a banned word. And I take off a point for that. But don't worry, because you can fix it and then turn it back into me, and then I'll give you 10 points. So I always give you a chance to fix it. Does that make sense? If you didn't get 10, you got 9 or 8 or something like that, it means you're missing something. So go ahead and fix it. So like for Sydney, I really liked your paragraph. It was really, really great. There was nothing that I found in there that you needed to fix, but you forgot to turn in your grammar. So I couldn't give you 10 points. So when you turn in your grammar, then I'll give you 10 points. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So back to this. Make sure you follow this checklist. So you already know about your name and date. That's easy. Composition double spaced. You got to make sure you double space it. And then your title, now you're going to be able to create a new title for it because at the very last sentence of your paper, that's when you use 1 to 3 keywords from your final sentence to make a new title. And then your story follows the story sequence chart, and that's this that we made. So you got to make sure it follows this. Okay. And then don't worry about, well, each paragraph contains at least 4 sentences. That's pretty easy because you have for each one of these is a sentence, right? So you have 4 sentences you can write here. This one, you'll actually have 5 sentences for your last paragraph. But your dress ups are super important. And you've got 3 of them now. You've got ly adverb, who, which clause, and a strong verb. Strong verbs are action verbs. So it's basically anything except like a helping verb or a linking verb. You don't want to underline one of those. Those are words like has and had and been and be and those types of words. You want to underline actual action verbs like looked or jumped or panicked or ran. Those types of things are action words. That's what strong verb means. It's an action word. Okay. And then you've got your banned words here, say, said, see, saw. So don't use those because then you'll get a point. I'll take a point off for that. So don't use say, said, or seesaw. Now let's go back here for a second. Oh, any questions about the checklist? Do you guys have any questions about that? No? Malia?
I don't really understand what an LY adverb is.
Okay, let's talk about that. An ly adverb, it's kind of handy that's called an adverb because it adds to the verb. So you're going to think of an ly word that has ly at the end that adds to a verb. So let's look at the word wanted right here at number 2, Roman numeral 2. Wanted is a verb. It's an action. Think of what ly word you can put before that to tell how he wanted to play a trick on opossum. So something like raccoon somethingly wanted to play a trick on opossum. Raccoon. Would you have an idea, Abby? What's an ly word that can describe how he wanted to play?
I know the who which clause.
Okay, hang on to that. Let's think about ly first. I thought of the word cruelly. Cruelly. So, cruel means like mean. So I could say, raccoon cruelly wanted to play a trick on opossum. Did you think of one, Malia?
Mysteriously wanted to play a trick on opossum.
Say the ly word one more time.
Mysteriously.
Yes, mysteriously. Okay. Raccoon mysteriously wanted to play a trick on opossum. That would work. That's a good one. Sydney, do you have one for that sentence? Somethingly wanted to play a trick. We have cruelly or mysteriously. It could even be meanly. Raccoon meanly wanted to play a trick. It's how he wanted to play a trick.
Meanly.
Meanly, okay. So here's another one. Wrapped. That's another verb. So you could think of an ly word for this one if you wanted to. Like he's telling how I wrapped my tail with bark. So he could say, I carefully wrapped my tail with bark. That would be a good one. Malia, do you have another one?
I slowly wrapped my
Slowly. Yes. Very good. So now I think you're getting it now. Look for the verb and then think of an ly word to go right before it. And that'll help you is how they did it. Okay. Very good. Good question too. So let's put a couple of those down here just as a note. Like, cruelly. I'm just going to make a note at the bottom of my page here, or you can write it on the back if you want. Cruelly wanted. That was one idea. Or slowly wrapped. Those are some ideas of some ly words you could use. You only need one. You can put both if you want, but you only need to underline one of them. Another thing I wanted to talk to you, at the end here, you can talk about how his tail, he looked at his tail and it didn't have any hair on it. You could say something like, sadly, his tail didn't have any hair or something like that. Sadly. Let's talk about the who which clause. Abby, you had an idea for that one.
Raccoon, who wanted to play a cruel trick on him, told him that what he did. Like,
yes, I like that. And you can finish that sentence, but yeah. So raccoon who wanted to play a cruel trick. Cruel trick. Yes, good one. Anybody else see a spot maybe where you could put a who or a which clause anywhere in there? Maybe the part about the bark. Remember in the story, it was like cedar bark. That's a type of tree, cedar. So you could say, something like raccoon told opossum to wrap his tail with bark, which was cedar, something like that. Abby, you're not muted.
Oopsies.
Oopsies. That would be a good one, like talking about the cedar bark, like the bark which was cedar. That would work there too. Or opossum was determined to have a tail like raccoon. Oh, opossum who was determined to have a tail like raccoon did as he told him to do. There's another idea. So there's some good spots for who, which clauses. And then you've already got some strong verbs. Like I said earlier, you got panicked, you got jumped, you've got wrapped and wanted, plenty of strong verbs to underline there. Let's see. We're actually finished a little bit early, which is kind of nice. So maybe we can kind of brainstorm some titles. Can you guys think of any good titles to use for this story? I know Sydney has one already. What was your title, Sydney, that you wanted to use?
The greedy opossum.
The greedy opossum. So yeah, that would work as long as you use one of those words in your last sentence. That'll work. Anybody have any other ideas of a good title? Malia?
Opossum and his hairless tail.
Opossum and his hairless tail. I like it. That's a good one. Because you'll probably use hairless here. That's a good word, hairless. Yep. Can you think of one? Abby's thinking, I can tell. Got it? Go ahead. What's your idea?
Like the mean raccoon or something.
Yeah, the mean raccoon. Just that's going to be a hard one to add here, though, because you're going to be talking about the opossum's hair. But you, as long as you add something about the raccoon, like something like he never saw a raccoon again, or something like that at the end, ending it like that. Then you can use raccoon in your title. Do you have another idea?
You could put in that sentence, he never liked raccoon again.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's true. I'm sure he didn't. He's like, I'm not even going to talk to that guy anymore. I learned my lesson. Or that would be a good one. Opossum learns his lesson. Don't listen to raccoon, whatever you do. All right, you guys, that's it for today. So don't forget, next time I see you will be with your mom or your dad or whoever does your schooling. Anybody's invited to in your family that for the conference, but that's when I'll see you next is at our conference time next week. And then we're going to break for Christmas and then we'll be back in January. I know, I'm so excited. So I'll see you next week for your conference call. Okay. Bye, you guys. Have a good week.